Coming up is the Thursday mailbag on the Managing Madrid podcast. But before we get to that, just wanted to excitingly announce that we are coming to New York. That'll be the December 4th, 5th weekend. We will kind of drop the details closer to the date. The reason why we can't give you exact time and date yet is because La Liga won't give us the exact time and date of their games on the weekend. So we need to make sure the podcast doesn't interfere with the Real Madrid game. For example, we're coming to Toronto in November, and that's going to be a Clásico weekend. So we got to make sure that it's not on the Clásico day, it's on the opposite day. So all that stuff La Liga annoys us with, we have to put up with. But we'll probably go back to the Playwright Irish pub in Manhattan where we recorded last time we were in New York. But either way, if you're in New York and surrounding areas, and I don't really know New York geography that well, but I do understand that there's a lot of places you can kind of make a road trip to New York, and it's really fun. So make sure to keep that weekend free, December 4th, 5th weekend. And the event page will be in the show notes. You can just click on it here and reserve your spot. And New York, I think, will fill up really fast. Toronto is going crazy right now. LA closely behind. And Dallas, slow start, but we're ramping up now. I saw this weekend a couple more were purchased. So New York, I think, is going to go really fast. I think that's actually our biggest demographic there. So if you want to get in on that, reserve your spot early. I don't know how much you can actually cram into a pub. So get your spot early. I highly suggest you to do so and not wait on that one, especially now that it's on early bird pricing and all that stuff. So get that done. And yeah, we'll leave it there. Thursday mailbag coming up with Lucas and I. A lot of great questions as always. Thank you, and let's go.
Nice article in the Managing Madrid blog. Wonderful lads that do a great job there. And worth reading about that man there. Karim Benzema needs to rest, and the numbers reveal why.
Hello and welcome to a Thursday edition of the Managing Madrid podcast. It is mailbag day. It is Thursday, July 1st, and we are super excited to go through a bunch of your questions. Truth be told, we got a bunch of great questions, so thank you for submitting them. This is one of those days and one of those weeks and times of the season where we could probably just riff off the cuff for like an hour, just because there's a lot of rumblings right now, a lot of Mbappe talk, a lot of Varane talk. And just general rumors and stuff. But it is nice. We have a couple of days break from the international tournament. Spain played tomorrow. And so today we can kind of focus on the transfers and the questions that you sent us. So joining me, Kylian Sobani, as always, every Thursday is Lucas Navarrete. Lucas, you holding up okay?
Yes, everything fine here in Spain, Kylian. It's getting warmer, obviously, but we're still holding up, yeah.
Great. All right, so let's jump into the questions. And the first patron question is from Eloy Enriquez. He says, reports say that Mbappe told his France teammates that he will not renew at PSG, but we will see out his contract next year. Do you see him staying another year at PSG, causing him to eventually renew based on all the pressures, or are the odds betting better than getting him this summer?
Well, first of all, I think we need to mention that the latest reports about the Mbappé saga indicate that he's not only told his teammates in France, but also PSG's sporting director Leonardo and also the president. So, I mean, if the reports are accurate, it's obviously a significant step forward and good news for Real Madrid, that's for sure. But at the same time, I struggle seeing PSG accepting to sell him, even if, you know, everyone keeps thinking that PSG are not going to walk away from 100 or 20 or 100 million euros when they know Mbappe is going to leave next summer. But
I think they will.
I completely agree with you. I think this is a matter of pride for them. Many things can change during the course of the year, as we've talked about in the previous episodes and all. I mean, Mbappe can get a serious injury, knock on wood, obviously, that he doesn't. And then, many things can happen. Maybe Real Madrid go nuclear and Florentino leaves the team and the club mid-year because the team isn't performing, and also many things can happen during the year, and it's not like PSG need the money with all the funding they have from the Qatar government. So it's not like they're. To me, this is a completely different scenario to the one we've seen in the past with other quote-unquote regular clubs like Tottenham, for example, with the Bale and Madrid saga, or Inter Milan in the past. I mean, the whole situation is a lot different when clubs like PSG or even Manchester City are involved. Like, they don't care at all about 100 million euros, and it's all a matter of pride and reputation for them, in my opinion. So I think that they won't accept to sell him this summer, no matter how much pressure Mbappe puts on them. And if this is the case, then Real Madrid will have to compete against other bidders next summer. But obviously, we have to assume that Madrid might have the edge on this race for Mbappe. So hopefully, not many things change during the course of next season if these reports are accurate.
Yeah, I think if there's any team that, I mean, you mentioned Manchester City in that same bracket too. I think if there is one or two teams, but specifically one team in the world that will be willing to risk not just any player, but Kylian Mbappe for free, it would be PSG. And I think there's some of it will be down to pettiness, pride, delusion. Some of it will actually be for maybe stupidity or bad sporting reasons, but actually some of it is actually smart. And I think it's actually fair to say, or rather, it's unfair to be mad at them for doing so if you're a PSG fan, or just maybe looking at this, analyzing whether it's the right thing to do or the smart thing to do. It becomes worth it if you win the Champions League next season with him. If you don't, then it's like, then you start to play all these hindsight games. It's like, well, we should have sold him. We're going to win the league title anyway, although they didn't win it this year, so maybe not. But they do this for the Champions League. This is basically just like Juve. They want to win the Champions League. They're pretty much full. They're overeating at the buffet for league titles. They want to win the Champions League. If they win the Champions League with him this season, that 100 million pays for itself, or whatever it is you ask for him. I don't know what the exact figure is. It's more than 100 million probably, but it becomes worth it in that scenario. I also think either way, as you put it, Lucas, this is good news for Real Madrid if this is true that he's communicated this to PSG. And I don't really have any reason to say that it's not true, given that the people who are reporting it are pretty reputable, and there's no one else coming out and denying this. So if he seats out his contract and then he walks for free next season, well, obviously that's good news for Real Madrid. But if you think about it, why this all this points to him joining Real Madrid next season, because he wants to go to Real Madrid. So it's not like PSG can start dragging other teams into some kind of bidding war if he's like, I'm going to Real Madrid. I don't care what you do. Like, that's the only place I'm going when I leave you guys. So it's not like PSG could have that. They have leverage in the sense that if they sell him this year, maybe they can start saying, okay, drag Vinicius or Varane into the discussion, possibly. Mm-hmm. They can also talk themselves into saying, well, maybe we can use that to replace Mbappe for Ronaldo for a year before his contract winds down. Maybe, for whatever reason, or they can start to look at those pieces and say, okay, we can do that this summer. Next summer, we can't really do that because he's just going to walk away for free. If you're Real Madrid, and I think most fans will be against what I'm about to say, but I think there will be a percentage of reasonable fans who will see merit in this, and I don't know where you stand on it, Lucas. I actually think if you're Real Madrid, it's not a bad idea to just wait till next summer. You won't have to give up any assets. You won't have to give up money. And I'm kind of like a little bit scarred from the Hazard thing still. Like, in hindsight, you should have just waited a year to sign Hazard, and maybe you wouldn't have even signed him at all. And I understand why they did it at the time. I would understand why they would sign Mbappe right now and not next summer. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. If he helps you win titles this year, it'd be worth it. But I just think I'd be careful if I'm Real Madrid. If I can get him for free, minus the agent fees and the signing fees next summer, I would be pretty careful about not giving up too much this summer.
I don't know, Kylian, because again, many things can happen. Maybe the guy gets injured, or the team fails completely, and all of a sudden Mbappe doesn't want to come here and kind of try to rescue this team from quote unquote hell. I don't know, because if you wait for another season, at the same time you need to make sure that you're competitive enough to still be appealing for Mbappe to join you. So I don't know. If I could do it, I would do it this summer. But I get it. The situation is very difficult because PSG are a very tough club to negotiate with, just the same as Manchester City. And you only need to take a look at what happened with the Neymar transfer saga. It all started because Barcelona were interested in Berratti and were trying to get involved into signing Berratti and all, and the PSG president basically got mad and said, okay, we're going to sign Neymar away from you now. So you need to be very careful because these guys can afford pretty much to sign pretty much every player on your roster right now, given that your release clauses are not as expensive as they were when Cristiano Ronaldo had this 1 billion release clause. And also I think you need to be careful and make sure that you're on the same page as PSG here, and PSG accept and embrace their fate, which is that the player just wants to leave. So I think this is the path Florentino is taking. Like, from all the reports I'm reading, it seems that Florentino is waiting on PSG to basically call him and say, okay, Mbappe told us he wants to join Real Madrid. Let's work something out. This is what I'm reading about the saga, as crazy as it sounds. And to be honest, I wouldn't wait a year to get him. I think many things can change in the course of a full season, and I think you need to make sure that you sign him now. I think this is a different case than the one with Hazard, because Mbappe is clearly ahead of him in terms of a transfer target. You know, Hazard was more expendable at the time than Mbappe would be right now. So
agree. Yeah, and I'm not against it. Like, if we sign Mbappe this summer, I'll be the first one partying. Like, it's not like I'm against the idea. I'm just wondering, like, what would it take this summer as opposed to next summer? And if it comes down to it, and what you said is probably the likely path if it happens this summer, because it's going to be in PSG's hands and no one else's. It's not in Mbappe's hands at this point. Right. It's not in Real Madrid's hands. It's up to PSG to, like, okay, how much do we care about losing him for free? Do we think we can win the Champions League this season if we keep him? And if not, then, you know, maybe we can start exploring it. I just don't know. Like, I just feel like in their head, they're probably going to be asking for so much that I don't even know, like, how you even begin to the discussions. But it is worth just, like, bringing up that, you know, Real Madrid, by the end of this, Real Madrid will probably have him if they want him, and everyone still is interested next summer. Because I just don't see PSG, like, convincing him in this year, and I don't see Real Madrid being bad enough that this year that Mbappe would be like, I'm staying away all of a sudden. I just don't see that scenario happening.
I don't know, but let me add very quickly that Mbappe has done more than I expected him to do about quote-unquote requesting a transfer. I know that he hasn't formally and officially done that, and he hasn't gone public and all, but he's resisted the pressure and the offers PSG have sent him, and at the same time all these reports from France, I have to assume that they're accurate, and Mbappe, maybe Mbappe's camp or Mbappe himself leaked them. So I didn't expect Mbappe to go as far as he's done so far, and I think it's just a matter of how stubborn PSG are at this moment, and how badly they can overcome this 100 or 120 or 150 million euros that, you know, they would be getting this summer. Instead of waiting for him to leave as a free agent. So I think Mbappe has done enough already, and we're in July 1st. So I think it would be unfair for Real Madrid's board or for Florentino to ask Mbappe to do something more, I think.
Yeah, he's basically taking the Hazard route, where it's like, I respect my contract. I'll see it out. Once the contract is over, I'll go wherever I want, and we all know where that is. And if you want to negotiate a deal to get me there sooner, then I'm open to that. I think this is kind of where we are. It's basically where Hazard was in his last year at Chelsea. Really quickly, I wanted to ask you, because I'm just doing a quick scan and I don't see a question about Varane, but how related do you think those two things are? Like, or do you think they're completely separate? Like, if Varane